Hi guys! So, you're excited for Series 3, I'm excited for Series 3, I have been for a while, but I put this particular video off for a little bit for two big reasons. One, of course, is copyright. I didn't want to get in trouble for posting leaked images on my channel. Two, is that often the final products change in some ways between leaked material and release, and I just wanted to make sure I had the confirmed final product images before speaking in depth on them. But before we get into them, I do have a preface, and it's a very big and unpleasant one. I almost didn't finish this video at all, but after consulting with my subscribers, I decided to finish working on it and include this disclaimer in order to bring attention to the issue. Rainbow High's creator and lead designer, Michael Scott Anderson, was recently involved in an incident that resulted in him appearing to have doxed and publicly exposed the home address of a 16-year-old fan. Shortly afterwards, he deleted all of his social media. This came after the child in question purchased dolls from AliExpress that hadn't been officially released. But rather than take issue with the sellers, Anderson targeted this child personally. This behavior is inexcusable. At the time of recording, MGA has not responded to or even acknowledged the situation, and I personally do not feel comfortable heavily promoting Rainbow High until this issue is resolved. I understand it's weird, at best, to be going on talking about the dolls immediately after saying all of this, but I decided to post this video because it was already in progress and because I got the go-ahead from most of my subscribers. But until further notice, all future Rainbow High-centered content on this channel will be on hiatus. I am definitely not calling for a boycott or telling you not to buy Rainbow High or anything like that, but if you are able to do so, I do urge you to contact MGA and let them know that this behavior is unacceptable, particularly for a brand that makes content and products for children, and it needs to be addressed. At the absolute bare minimum, an apology or some kind of explanation. In the meantime, I will be monitoring this situation as best as I can. But all that in mind, Series 3, we can talk about that now. I'm going to be going through each girl, talking about their fashions, their style inspos, my general opinions on them, and then, of course, I'll be ranking them 1 through 6. So, let's go ahead and get into it. Overall, I think Series 3 is hands down the best so far. Series 2 I actually thought was slightly weaker than Series 1, so I got a bit worried there for a second, but Series 3 blows both out of the water. I think it does a much better job of showing off personality, and although it still very much relies on real-life designer references, I think the choices were much stronger and more interesting than they have been in the past. But let's look at each girl on her own. First, let's talk Cheryl Meyer. I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't on the Cheryl train when it was first hinted that she would be getting a doll. I didn't really understand why everyone was obsessing over this nameless backgrounder with reused assets and no lines who just vaguely resembled Cher from Clueless.
Get ready now!
But against all odds, I fell in love. Her redesign rocks. The name of her game is definitely Versace, with her primary outfit being inspired by their Fall/Winter 2018 runway collection with a Versace-style belt, and her second outfit, a direct callback to one of Cher's outfits from the movie, recolored to fit her color scheme, and the skirt being updated to resemble Versace's signature intricate black and gold prints. Finished, of course, with a pair of gold Valentino heels. I think Cheryl is great, all the way down to her 90s inspired lip liner. You see her and you know exactly what kind of a girl she is, and I think it's because being so referential works for a character that is literally just one big reference, and yet she's still being taken somewhat seriously. If I was going to change anything, I would probably have pushed the 90s envelope a little further, like full fluffy cardigan, satin slip dress, jean skirt realness, rather than just choosing a more recent collection that's 90s inspired. But that's just me. I understand they wanted to stay within the Clueless world. I do hope, though, in the future they kind of step outside of the Clueless references a little bit for her character. Like, they're fun for now, but her bio by far says the least about her of any new character, and it can get old very quickly. Next up is Georgia Bloom. Love, love, love Georgia. I've seen people say she looks washed out compared to the other characters thanks to her more muted color scheme, but I disagree completely. I love how soft she looks, especially her pinkish brown eyes and her gorgeous makeup. She's probably one of my favorite color schemes, like, in the entire franchise. Hairpins are also a favorite accessory of mine to see, and she has plenty to spare. Her primary inspiration is Dior's Girly collection from 2004, and I usually find the Dior references the most unusual because I definitely don't associate them with high school students, but this particular connection is a pretty fun one, I think. Though, with the print also on both her shoes and socks, it does look mildly excessive. Still, both her outfits are super cute and great for mixing. Her bio says that she's a Southern belle, which is absolutely everything I was hoping for, and I'm so excited about it, but I do wish it showed a little more through her outfits. I'm not saying she needs to be in full Dolly Parton cosplay, as awesome as that would be, but look, I'm a theater major from Texas. South Texas. Georgia and we have a connection. I would have loved to just see familiar little details like maybe one of those weird tassel necklaces, maybe a sheer peasant blouse, one of those t-shirts with a zebra print crucifix on it bought from a store called something like Classy and Sassy Boutique.
Like, if you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. If you know, you know.
Now it's Emmy Vanda's turn, and she's another that just has such a pleasing color scheme to look at. I love her hair so much, and her face in the new mold is so lovely, but I do have some issues with Emmy here. Her sweater is definitely not my favorite piece in the world, and yes, I know it's a reference to a Moschino sweater, and it's not that I think it looks cheap, it actually looks extraordinarily well made. I just don't like it. Her outfits in general just don't interest me that much. Outside of her amazing knee-high boots and the Marine Serre sock heels, another designer that I actually think was a really cool choice for a reference. My disappointment stems mainly from the fact that Emmy's bio describes her as a moody, rebellious, angsty artist, and that's so much personality that feels a bit wasted. I know this is very quickly becoming a how I would have designed Series 3 video, but really, if it was up to me, I definitely would have looked outside big, exclusive American or European designers and looked towards smaller, grungier brands. Like, for Emmy, what comes to mind is Sex Pot Revenge, or maybe even Listen Flavor or H. Nauto. I just don't think that a rebellious, sardonic artist type would be worried about looking incredibly trendy. So while I don't think Emmy looks bad at all, I'm just kinda sad for what could have been. Next is Daria Roslin, and she's mixing it up a little bit with her Gucci-inspired dress, Versace-inspired second outfit, and her floral Doc Martens. So, I look at Daria, and my first thought is actually just that she looks kind of messy. If it wasn't for the fairly pronounced rose motifs, I never would have guessed her color scheme was rose. There's just so many different shades of pink happening, and I don't know if they necessarily mesh together that well. There's the cooler, softer tones of her makeup, the bright, incredibly saturated hair, the pastel pink on her jacket, and then the deep, rosy pink of her dress, and then like her incredibly bright, piercing, laser blue eyes that just look so out of place. I don't know, I'm not that into it. Now, her second outfit does fix most of those issues. I think this outfit is super cool, super elegant, and really helps the rose tones in her hair and makeup stand out in a good way. It also just looks very, very well made. Thematically though, I want to like her first outfit because it represents her personality way more. I get the impression that they were going for a late 90s kind of grunge look, and it almost works, so I don't know, I'm torn, and not necessarily in a good way. Gabriella Isley's turn now. My least favorite name, by far, by the way. Why not Gabriella Snow, Winter, Frost? But I digress. Her primary inspiration seems to be 90s Versace, and actually total credit to It's Alex Babs on Twitter for pointing that out. Her second dress also seems to be pretty similar to the neckline of another Versace dress. I think Gabriella is cute. She doesn't necessarily blow me away like some of the other girls do, but I still like her. I see her often called boring, but I don't really agree. I like that she's slightly more understated compared to the other girls. It makes her stand out as being very chic, and it fits her haughty, kinda mean girl personality. The colors they chose are perfect, and I do really like the snakeskin motif. Again, if I were to change something, I guess I would give her at least one thing that would stand out as more of a statement piece. Like, we already have enough motorcycle jackets in Rainbow High, so I would probably replace it in her second outfit with a nice fur stole or a capelet for some serious Paris Hilton vibes, faux of course, to really tie in the fact she's rich, she's elegant, and she's better than you. Last, but absolutely not least, we have Daphne Mitten, who is in head-to-toe Versace. A Versace-inspired jacket, Versace tweed skirt, Versace sports bra, Versace patchwork jeans, Versace t-shirt, Versace boots the house
down, slay queen, hunty mama, and oop daddy work, Charlie XCX, snatch my wig!
When I first saw Daphne, I'll be honest, she was probably the one I was least interested in. The designer branding just seemed way too excessive on her and really lacked personality. But after seeing better pictures of her, I have to say that just face-wise, she is probably the most beautiful doll in the lineup. The new mold and her makeup are both just so gorgeous and she looks so darling. My thoughts on her outfits, though, haven't really changed, unfortunately. Especially considering the fact her bio identifies her as an accessory design focus, I notice a very interesting lack of accessories. It even says her specialties are silversmithing and gemology, but I see neither silver nor gems. Her only necklace is printed on. I also just think her outfits look very mature, and not necessarily in like a high fashion way, but more in a matronly way, which would have been fine if that was established to be her personality, but it's very clearly not. I just think it's a missed opportunity, especially as the brand is starting to introduce more and more accessories to do something really fun with her, like go the extra mile with it. Give her a really cool cuff bracelet or even a tiara or a jeweled Alice band, just something to really make her stand out more and to bring in more of her personality and interest to her clothes. But again, even without that, she is stunning. I cannot emphasize that enough. But now I have to rank the girls from least to most favorite. In 6th place is, unfortunately, Emmy. And I do need to say this doesn't mean at all that I dislike her. I do still like her. I just am drawn to her the least and do find myself disappointed they didn't do more with her outfits. In 5th place, I have to say Daria. Again, I still love her in the show, particularly she's such a great character, but her doll just isn't my favorite. In 4th place is Daphne. She's so pretty, but lacks the wow factor of the other half of this list in my opinion, and I just wish her outfits had more character. 3rd place is Gabriella. I just think she looks so elegant and gorgeous, and her more understated fashions come off as more intentional in her case than it does in the ones below her in my opinion. 2nd place goes to Cheryl, who is so adorable and so fun and has some truly great pieces. And 1st place, of course, goes to my girl Georgia. She's just so beautiful and so well designed, and I'm so obsessed with her. Overall, my feelings are, again, that this collection is very impressive, but there's still a lot of things that I want to see be taken much further. And I just want to see more personality in the future, but I do think they're getting there. And there we have it. If you disagree with my rankings, that's fine. In fact, defend your faves down below and let me know who you would have ranked differently. As always, thank you so much for watching, and if you're not already, be sure to subscribe for more videos like this in the future. Thank you.